We'll start the fourth and the last session of World Money Fair's Technical Forum virtual this year. Please use the possibility to tell us your impressions by answering the questions of the poll. You will find the poll below the videos if you have a look on your screen. I wish you an interesting session, and moderators, please start.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends and colleagues, dear World Money Fair Technical Forum supporters, a very warm welcome to the fourth and final virtual session of the 17th Technical Forum. We are happy that you are joining.
Thanks, Dieter. Hello East, hello West. Welcome to the last session of the Technical Forum virtual. Let's have a quick look back into the last session, the third one. We had more than 500 registered people. We had 250 being very active, and we had a 50 minutes Q&A, which is reflecting how active you were participating in this session. Thank you very much for doing so and making this session and the others as well to a quite successful benchmark compared to the webinars in general.
And for this fourth session, about 550 persons from 53 countries have registered, which means plus 35% compared to session one. Among these are approximately 260 participants from international mints and national banks, 130 participants from the international machine manufacturers and the industry, 25 participants from international blank manufacturers and refineries, and the remaining are participants from the so-called professional services.
This session, we have 4 presentations, 5 presenters, and we are looking into tooling, inspection, minting, and the cash matters, a general information about the cash industry. The companies Lang, Schuler, and Proditec will present technical innovations today. Please use the bottom of your screen to implement yourself in the Q&A, to raise questions which will be discussed during the Q&A when we have the presenters live with us.
Yes, and introducing the first presentation from Lang, we have to consider that worldwide when we talk about circulation coins, worldwide more than 1,000 different coins are in circulation in about 180 countries. This figure does not include the collector coins. And when we talk about circulation coins, we talk about approximately 60 billion coins a year which are produced. And therefore the choice of machinery and suitable software for the die manufacturer is of extraordinary importance for every mint.
Joachim Steidl is well known. He's working for the company Lang. That will be our first presentation today. And he's guided by Julian Schmidt. They will talk about die production, the latest innovation around die production, make it more economical, and also about the new features of how to produce excellent dies. Joachim and Julian, the stage is yours.
Hello and welcome to the last event of the Digital Technical Forum. My name is Julian Schmidt and I work for global sales at the Lang Company. We are producer and developer of high-precision milling and engraving machines with long tradition since nearly 50 years.
Also, a very warm welcome from my side. My name is Joachim Steidl and I'm responsible as a sales director at Lang and special since the end of the 90s for the minting division. A special thanks to Dieter and Thomas for the enormous effort, time and work they and all those in the background have done. Thanks also at this point to the World Money Fair that we can present here the latest developments for the coining industry. Today we want to talk about on software, what is the latest news, machining, surface structures, and also that you can get a summary where you can save time. In our latest version from our CAD/CAM program, we got the new overage features, what allows us to work faster, easier, and more efficiently. New functions to apply structures on all kinds of surfaces. Nearly all features in our program has been optimized and remastered. Due to the latest technology on software and hardware that allows us that we can get a faster output and calculation time up to 30%. Facts in the latest 64-bit version is time reduction and easier handling.
The CAD and Design is a merging of two programs and allows switching between LegoCAD and Relief Designer to add separate contours and stylistic elements in live mode. Therefore, you are allowed to save up to 25% time because you could generate well-defined jobs with our new document management system. You have easy handling of both tools working together and the perfect balanced usage of the CPO resources. Sometimes you need or you want to apply structures on all kinds of surfaces, so now you could do this with our new surface structure feature that gives you the opportunity to develop perfect looking surface structures like stone or paper in a matter of seconds. You could easily fit them, for example, to the background of a coin without affecting reliefs or letters. You also have the option to unwind the structures also on the relief design just that quick. And you have the possibility to create own surface structures like conventional punching just in a few blinks. I think carbon structures would be cool. I'm going to work on this afterwards.
First of all, we open our Relief Designer and the relief we want to work on, clicking to the grayscale and start marking all the areas we want to have a surface structure. If you have marked all the areas, you have to create a borderline by clicking to the borderline feature. If you have done this, you could go to the right side and open the structure feature by right-clicking. There are a lot of structures included, but you could also create your own. And you have also the opportunity to optimize the structure on the right side. If you have done this, you only have to limit the structure to the borderline by drag and drop. As the last step, we only have to calculate the whole relief. Afterwards, we could have a look on what we have done by clicking to the left side to the light simulation. As you can see, the surface structure is just in the inner border of the borderline.
Sometimes you want to flatten a relief to make something special. Now this is going to be really easy. You have the possibility to convert a 3D file to a flat relief. It gives you the illusion of a full 3D relief on low surface like flat bars. The workpiece gets an extraordinary look, and it's really low time of programming and also manufacturing. And the best, you could also produce this by laser or milling.
First of all, we start with opening our Relief Designer and the relief we want to work on. Go to the CAM wizard, choose Laser and choose two-dimensional isohypsis, editing the laser parameters, and just calculate the whole relief. As you could see, the whole relief was now converted from a 3D relief to two-dimensional isohypsis. If we take a look on the profile, you see that the relief is now really flat.
When I was young, I was really fascinated by looking through my collection of trading cards, especially by them with the design in two angles. So we worked out a feature that allows to do a configuration of multi-side designs up to 6 angles. This feature function is totally easy in handling, and you get the direct visual inspection of the appearance by a digital model and the possibility of a full light simulation. I think my younger me would love it.
We start in our Relief Designer by opening the relief we want to work on. On the right side, we do a right click in the Cat 3, opening the latent image feature. There you see all the latent image properties with different variations. We limit the area by choosing the borderline. Now we could pick up the different perspectives from our layers and allocate them by drag and drop on the right side. Now we start the calculation of the whole relief, and afterwards we have the possibility to check the quality of the latent image from different angles and different light incidence.
Everybody knows it. You own an old machine working good since decades, compared to the Swiss Army knife, but you feel like it's not the state of the art anymore. Now we have a great option for you. By replacing the existing controller with newest Express, also control panel with new control elements, the monitor with new IPC and touchscreen, the motors, a new spindle generator, a hand wheel encoder with jog mode, and therefore you get more dynamic, a higher resolution, a higher port currency resulting stronger engines, and consequential an increased machining speed, therefore a high time reduction and also better surface. And you get a new safety concept of newest Microsoft versions supported by modern antivirus programs, especially interesting for machines with LNC and MCG who still work on old systems since the 80s. This makes it possible to bring old machines to the safety standards of 21, including latest CE conformity. But now to the facts. If we take a look on the resolution, you could see that we increased it by 300 times. And the feed and rapid traverse is multiplied by 4 times, and the acceleration is also increased by 10 times.
But if you want to work in a higher accuracy and surface quality, including a faster feed rate, we want to show our newest invention, the Impala 400 SL. This machine concept with linear drives has a new powertrain concept, direct drive, lower clearancy level, better surface quality, higher machine dynamic, and a higher feed rate. This system you can get including with our new development on cutting tools, with new geometrics, and we have developed together with a tool supplier a special coating on the tools to get a longer tool life. Everybody knows how time-consuming die polishing is. Therefore, we have generated a new function that allows you to do polishing on 3D surfaces directly on our Impala machines in Insight from selected borderlines. Possible with the latest versions of our Impala series. That means you got a time production on hand manpower, repeatable surface quality, and higher workload on multiple die production.
One of our first attempts related to our self-engineered polishing tools. However, we still work on improving the first result.
Thank you for your attention.
Take care and stay healthy.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Jockel, for your presentation. We've put you under tooling, understanding that you have also the challenges to improve your own toolings and how important the software around your equipment is to get the final results and to get innovations into place. We will have later Jockel at the Q&A live, whereby Julian will be for sure also available at a later stage. But live now we have Jockel later to answer all the questions you may have.
The company Proditec has been known to us for many years as a reliable supplier for vision systems for blanks and minted coins. For the inspection of minted coins, random checks are made nowadays in the mints. Only a small number of mints carry out a 100% quality inspection of the minted coins. With the VisiCoin 2000, Eric Sanquer will present us a system to support the quality control of coins. Eric, the virtual stage is yours.
Hello viewers, thank you for being with us today. Thank you Thomas and Dieter for making this technical forum possible. I am Eric Sanquer, Sales Manager at Proditec. Today I would like to speak of Proditec's new approach towards quality inspection in the coining industry. I will illustrate this new approach by explaining the developments of our new VisiCoin 200 for coining process inspection. The sanitary crisis and lockdowns have accelerated the digitalization and the unpredictability of our futures. We think that if we want a bright future for the coining industry, we all have to become as fit and as competitive as possible. Over the years, the Toyota production system proved to be the reference in cost, efficiency, and quality. By using this same approach, we would like to help our customers to make the coin industry fitter and more cost-effective, but without any compromise over quality. Up until now, our biggest market has always been the blanking industry. Quality inspecting the blanks right at the end of the production process. For improvements in cost and quality, our opinion is that our systems should be able to inspect not only the products, but the process itself as well. In the lean management system, the right tool for this job is called an andon. In Japanese, andon means lantern. The Toyota production system uses andons in order to stop production and avoid scrap as soon as a quality problem is detected. The undone also alerts the workflow and management that a problem has happened. This system allows to minimize losses and improve quality. We want our new generation of machines to act as undones. Our first new generation machine is the VisiCoin 200. It is vision-based. It is designed to help improving an already very well-controlled process. The VisiCoin 200 allows to keep under control the quantity of small imperfections on finished coins by automatically informing the users about unusual quality. The VisiCoin 200 also allows to monitor the evolution of the coining dies during coining. If a persistent coining defect should happen, it would stop the coining press immediately. As the VisiCoin 200 is also a vision system, it is also able to reject the very rare but severe defects that could end up as collector items. So now, how to design a vision system as an undone? As many coining plants have a limited square footage, the VisiCoin 200 must have the following attributes. It must be affordable and simple. For this reason, it has one camera only, because one camera already allows to monitor both coining dies, because 50% of the coins will be on the reverse and 50% of the coins will be on the obverse. Then it must fit on the majority of layouts. Therefore, it must have an extremely low footprint. Finally, the input and output of the coins must be at the same level. And it must not affect the coining process itself, of course. So it was designed with this double conveyor system that drops the coins at the same level as the press output, and it provides also a jam-free operation. And now, in order to illustrate my explanations, a small video of our VisiCoin at the Spanish Mint. Now let's talk about the functionalities of the VisiCoin 200. First off, what we do in case of a random defect. A random defect is a defect that per definition can be anywhere on the coin. Typically it is a blanking defect. So when we find one unique imperfection on one single coin, then we can decide to just let it go. Then when we find many small imperfections, the coins are still acceptable, but we inform the user because there may be a problem of quality on the blanks or on the coins. Finally, when there is a big defect, well, simply we reject it. And this approach, all in all, allows to keep the quality under control without rejecting an excessive amount of good coins. Now let's see the behavior of the VisiCoin 200 in case of a coining defect. So if we have a small coining defect, more of an imperfection, and it's not evolving, then the VisiCoin can just choose to let it go. Then, when the imperfection is evolving, we choose to inform the user that something is happening, even if it's still very small. But we don't reject, we just inform. Then, when the imperfection becomes a real defect, we reject the coins, but more importantly, we stop the press. With this approach, we pretend to be able to detect very, very small defects without rejecting an excessive amount of good coins. We're expecting a total reject of 0.05% or less. The previous images were obviously simulated images. So now let's see a case of a real defect on a real coin. So on the first image, we see that we have a perfectly brand new coining die. The coin is perfect. On the second image, we see that the coining die is starting to be damaged, but in the inside. So it's slightly erasing the surface of the die, resulting in a small imperfection, but it is still a very good coin. Nevertheless, we inform the user, okay, because we want him to know that the coin is starting to let go. Third image, we see that the edge of the design is starting to chip. This is invisible by a naked eye when you look at the coin, but we alert the user, and the user can decide to stop the press at this stage. And then the last image. Not only the defect is getting bigger, but there is also a missing security feature. So we stop the press, reject everything that goes, and we have hidden the security feature in order to hide the origin of the coins. Finally, in the case of very rare but very large defects, obviously the VisiCoin will reject the coins directly. With this feature, our intention is to make error coins practically impossible. The last feature we'll see today is the Internet of Things connectivity. This feature allows to alert anyone, whether it's an operator or management level, without any extra cost for infrastructure. In conclusion, after our first field tests, we think that the VisiCoin 200 is capable of bringing many benefits to our customers. But the greatest benefit of them all is to offer the unique possibility to be at the quality. Not below, not over, just at. Thank you for watching, and see you in a few minutes for the Q&A.
Hello, Eric. Greetings already from here. Thank you very much for disappearing from the screen slowly and appearing slowly later in the Q&A. Thank you also for adding yourself to the inline inspection, I think, which has really come across now for quite some time, and being part again for within the technical forum to let us see your presentation. So see you later at the Q&A, and thank you very much again.
Yes, and if we look to the number of euro coins for the year 2020, and here I'm talking about the net issuance by the euro system, there are about 48.5% of the 1 and 2 euro cent coins among the approximately 3 billion minted coins. Well, some countries have abounded the small denominations already for different reasons. In Europe, this topic has been discussed during many years and will be surely also be discussed in the future.
Talking about simplifying manufacturing processes is not only because companies, mints, are seriously recognizing that there is cost pressure. This will lead into looking at the processes and incorporating independent processes within process steps. This is what Schuler did with their inspection as well, incorporated that in their latest innovation, which will be presented now from Wolfgang Schumann. Wolfgang, the stage is yours.
Dear audience, also from my side, a warm welcome and many thanks to Thomas and Dieter for making this session happen. Our topic today is the production of coins. But first of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Wolfgang Schumann, and I am responsible for the product management in the minting department. Production of coins has not changed much over the last years. It's more or less still a combination of different process steps on different machines. But time and circumstances changed. The demand for output and profit changed over the years, and also the requirements in terms of quality changed. So Schuler decided to rethink the production of coins and to combine all these different production steps in one machine, the new Schuler Coining Center M2R. Combining different steps always may cause some difficulties in operation, in handling, in setting up. So the question still is, can the machine be handled? Is it child's play? Let's see. But let me ask you one question in advance. What are your expectations when thinking about modern coin productions? What are your needs, your requirements to be successful? Of course, one or the other says availability. That's very, very important. But how to influence availability? First of all, quite simple, you can reduce the time for a tool change. We have redesigned the tool change or the tool area and integrated a tool frame into the press where you can use your existing dies and existing colors, but you have the advantage that you can prepare the die in advance during production of the machine and then pull out the worn die set and bring in the new one and minimize your changeover time. Here you can get a brief impression of a die change, of a tool change. It's quite simple and really can be done in a very short period of time. Just pull out the worn die set or cracked die set, whatever, and bring in the new one. The tool frame is the same for all stations of the machine, so it can be used either in the hydraulic axis as well as in the coining press. Well, thinking about availability, of course, you also have a changeover. For example, in case you change from €1 to €2 production. In that case, you do not only have to replace the die set or the tool frame, but you also have to set up the entire machine, which may take some time. But having a brief look at the setup of one of the feeding systems, you can see that handling of the machine is quite simple and it doesn't take a long time to set up the feeding system, for example, or to replace feeding pockets by new ones. You see, we use the blank itself to set up the feeding unit, to set up the correct coin thickness and also to set up the correct diameter of the blanks or rings or whatever you feed. That makes it easy and quite comfortable for the operator to set up the whole system. And also all other exchange parts or coin-related parts can be replaced easily. Of course, the availability of the machine is also influenced by the quality of the blanks itself. Bad blanks may cause trouble in the coining press, may cause stoppages in the coining press. So it's important to ensure that you have a good quality of the blanks you feed into the coining press. To assure that you only get good quality blanks into the coining press, we have integrated an inline inspection system into the coining press. And that's not only a mechanical system as, for example, for the MRV or MRH, but it's an optical inspection system. You're able to measure all major dimensions of the blank, the diameter, the thickness, but also we can inspect the shape in case of non-round coins or non-round blanks. And we also can check the material of the blank. For example, if you use a colored polymer ring, we can ensure that the color is the correct one. And by using an optical system, we can ensure that the press does not stop due to faulty blanks. Coming back to the question from the beginning, what are your expectations? One or the other can say it's not only availability, but also the performance of the machine. And performance means production speed. As we combined many different production steps in one machine, the advantage is not only the higher production speed of the coin itself, but it's also the time saving from combining these different production steps. And the production speed is also influenced by the different process steps. For example, inner edge forming or piercing of the blank. Performance also means that the operator always knows or understands what's happening. What is the fault that stopped the machine? What is the next step he has to do to set up the machine? Of course, we also support the operator with digital glasses or a good customized HMI. And you also have the possibility to check the production data, to check the press force by data stored in the Schuler cloud. Performance is also a question how fast you can detect that the coin quality is not okay. And that's the reason why we integrated the inspection system into the coining press itself and do not inspect the coin quality with an independent inspection system. As you see here, the inspection system, the optical inspection system, is directly integrated in the feeding table of the coining press, and in 2 stations we check the quality of the coin from both sides, from the avers and the reverse side. You're able to check all major dimensions. You inspect the outer shape, for example, in case of non-round coins. We can verify the alignment of the avers and the reverse side. And of course, we also can detect die cracks. Yeah, that's bad news for collectors because no rejected coins are brought into circulation. Sorry for that. Having a closer look at the inspection system itself, you see it's located directly behind the coining station. So you get an immediate feedback about the quality of the coin and can sort out all faulty coins in a glance. We use a tactile coin edge measurement system, and we're also able to check the thickness of the coin edge in different positions. And directly afterwards we sort out the faulty blanks, and coins with an excellent quality are brought into circulation. So the M2R is not only a combination of different process steps, but with the help of the inline inspection of blanks and coins, and also with the possibilities that new technologies offer you, we can ensure that you get an excellent quality of your coins at a reasonable output and produce coins in a very good quality in an effective way. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm looking forward to an interesting Q&A.
Wolfgang, you're a quite shy presenter. Thank you very much for that very innovative presentation. Knowing that you are one of the chief developer of this innovation, one can only congratulate you for what you have done. And I have learned that the first machine, I think nowadays it's just been in commissioning or almost finished in the Mint in Baden-Württemberg in Stuttgart. And Dieter, anywhere else, anything else in the pipeline?
No, you're right. The first machine is in the startup installation phase and in the first trials in the Mint of Baden-Württemberg. And the second machine, we are very happy that the Bavarian State Mint will receive them in pretty soon. We are here in the final assembly in Göppingen.
Thanks, Dieter. I hope that there are a million questions afterwards in the Q&A where Wolfgang Schumann will be live, and I'm sure he can answer all the questions as he knows every little detail of the new concept.
Right, so Thomas, cash matters now more than ever. It's not a technical paper, but we will see facts and figures. Equipment for digital currency is not in the product portfolio of most of the companies of the mint industry, and the COVID-19 pandemic acted as an accelerant to all things digital, including payments. It is great to hear from Andrea what the impact on cash has been in various parts of the world and what are the most important messages for the mint community now when it comes to cash. Andrea, the virtual stage is yours. We are very much looking forward to your presentation.
A warm welcome to all of you. My name is Andrea, and I'm chair of Cash Matters, an advocacy movement pro-cash funded by the International Currency Association, the ICA. I'm very happy to be here. It's always a pleasure to speak to the Mint community. And what I would like to talk to you about today is why cash matters. Not despite COVID, but because of COVID. We've all heard and read the coverage and the media stories last year and this year as well about cash being on its last leg and cash in decline. We also probably all know that this is not really true because currency in circulation is actually increasing, or rather has been increasing over the past year. And I would like to go through some slides with you now. My apologies, we can't go into each single slide because there's no time. But I would like to kind of click through the slides and show them to you, because they all have the same pattern and the same message. These slides show the currency in circulation, the growth by value in several regions and countries in the world. And as I said, the patterns and the message is always the same. Currency in circulation has increased by a whopping between 10 and 25% worldwide. Demand for cash obviously has risen dramatically last year. So why is the narrative in most of the media about cash in decline? This is because of the banknote or cash paradox, as the ECB calls it. To quote the ECB from February this year, in recent years, the demand for euro banknotes has constantly increased, while the use of banknotes for retail transactions seems to have decreased. And this is a trend that can be observed globally and has been accelerated by COVID-19. Meaning, in simpler words, cash usage has gone down, while currency in circulation has gone up. And to show you what I mean, there is a poll by YouGov, published February this year, on global preferences for cash from last year's survey. And if you look at this poll, you can see that China is at only 10% of the population saying they would prefer cash, whereas the usual suspects, Germany and Mexico, for example, still have people preferring cash by over 50%. So what does that mean? Will currency in circulation follow the downward trend of cash usage? We don't know. This is all crystal gazing. Will the trend toward cashless triggered by the pandemic continue? I'm not sure it will be reversed. Let's look at some figures, because cash usage, I think, will not fully recover. In Germany, cash transactions declined by 13% in 2020 to 61% transactions, not volume. That's been under 50% for quite a while now. And in Belgium, cash transactions, for example, declined by 39% in 2020, with the elderly, 65 to 74, using cash for only 9% of transactions. So these kind of figures trigger the negative media coverage. Cash matters still and always, and the reasons for these are mostly societal, political, and cultural ones. There's a whole range of reasons for growth in demand for cash or for cash usage. I would like to concentrate on 3 topics that are within this context of societal, political, and cultural structures. Cash matters for universal availability and ease of use. COVID-19 has had a very severe impact on the poorest people in the world, not only in terms of infection, but mostly also in terms of loss of livelihood. Almost 10% of the world population today, that's about 700 million people, live in extreme poverty. Extreme poverty is being defined by the World Bank as living on $1.90 a day or less. And in 1990, this figure was 1/3 of the population. Since then, more than 1.2 billion people have risen out of poverty. And COVID-19 now meant a harsh setback, the first in over 20 years. It's the first time that poverty actually has increased. COVID-19 pandemic is estimated to increase extreme poverty by between 88 and 93 million. And if you count in all the people that actually would have escaped poverty if the trend had continued and if COVID-19 hadn't disrupted it, then we are at COVID-induced new poor in 2020 between 119 and 124 million people. And for these people, for most of the global poor, cash is the only form of payment available to them. It's their means for the survival. Cash usage does not involve fees. No registration is needed to accept it, spend it, obtain it. And it gives people dignity. Cash matters for the global poor. The next reason why cash matters in a societal, structural, political context is cash matters for financial and social inclusion. Of course, there's a very high correlation between global statistics on the poor and on the unbanked. For one, 75% of all unbanked people are poor, and many of these aren't able to access even basic financial or social support. And access to financial services usually comes at an extra cost for those who cannot afford this. According to the Global Findex database from 2017, the 2020 hasn't been issued, I don't know why. Every third adult globally is unbanked. That's 1.7 billion people. And more than 20% of all adults worldwide receive their wages in cash and pay all their bills in cash, including bills such as rent, utilities, larger sums. And these people need cash also because part of the financial inclusion issue is the digital divide. The World Bank says that half of the world's population in 2021 is still without internet access, with the vast majority concentrated in developing countries. And for access to the formal financial system, usually you need a digital infrastructure. So cash actually for the unbanked and underbanked is a societal equalizer. Cash does not discriminate between the rich and the poor, between banked and unbanked. It is available to everybody, regardless of social status, creditworthiness, age, race, gender, nationality, etc. The third reason why cash matters, because of COVID and because of the impact of COVID on societal, political, cultural structures, is personal freedom and independence. A subtext to that is protection of privacy and data. And there's two focus areas I would like to concentrate on. The first one is that, to quote Freedom House, which published a report called Democracy Under Lockdown, the Impact of COVID-19 on the Global Struggle for Freedom, silencing their critics and weakening or shuttering important institutions is something that many countries and governments used COVID-19 as a pretext for. What does that have to do with cash? If you look at Hong Kong, for example, you can see that very clearly. In Hong Kong, many students who protested the takeover of their government by China, and we all remember the Umbrella Revolution, they used cash. They started to use cash even if they hadn't used cash before, because, to quote a publication, a Hong Kong publication, Hong Kong is waking up to the benefits of financial privacy using cash as protesters seek to hide their movements and identity. Participants in the ongoing rallies against Hong Kong government are choosing to abandon payment methods which could track them. And the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, published a feature titled "Say No to the Cashless Future in Order to Protect Your Liberty." That was 2019. The second focal point for me in this context of personal freedom and independence is women. In the developing world, the impact of COVID-19 was much harder for women, as they make up the majority of the unbanked, 55%, and as the impact has been disproportionate. Women are much more subject to violence since COVID-19. They have less access to basic sanitary and health measures. They are threatened by job loss, and unpaid work has increased. And this is not only restricted to the developing world. These points also impact women in industrialized countries. And one story, or a very nice way to illustrate that is when India introduced its demonetization, women were actually punished twice. Many women in rural areas in India stashed cash away in coffee tins or wherever in order to provide food for their children, to buy school books, to guarantee an education. And when demonetization hit, they not only had to hand in the money that they had saved, they also had to give the money to their husband, because the vast majority of these women was not banked. Plus, in many patriarchal structures, women are not allowed to have a bank account. So they were also in trouble in their marriage because their husbands found out about the money they had hidden away. That's something that happens in developing countries. But also in developed countries, there's an article I would like to quote from The Independent, a UK daily, from March this year, which was titled, "Women Need Emergency Funds Now More Than Ever. Extra funds aren't just for rainy days or broken boilers, they are about the freedom to leave bad situations." And women in London or in Munich or in Berlin or in Paris or wherever or in New York, they can probably do that by setting up another account or a bank account or by getting a credit card of their own. But for many women in the world, cash is the only way of maintaining and of retaining the sliver of independence and personal freedom. Looking at all of this, cash is often the last resort for everyone defending their personal freedom, independence, and liberty. And cash always prevents total control, regardless of the context, be it private, governmental, or institutional. Looking at everything I told you, I would like to appeal to you, as I always do, to the whole Mint community. Be an ambassador for cash. Speak up for cash. Speak out for cash. No matter where you go, no matter who you're talking to, make the case for cash. And in order to round this whole session off, I will now show you the latest Cash Matters video published December 2020, which is all about Freedom Matters. Thank you so much, and I look forward to receiving your questions in the Q&A session.
Every transaction is a journey in its own right. Sometimes I like to make that journey alone, answering only to myself. I feel free. All the power I need is in my hands. I can go anywhere. But am I free? When it comes to payments, independence is important. You never know who's watching your every move. My life is my business. Freedom means having choices and being able to make them. Unfettered, unrestricted. All the power I need is in my hands. To go wherever I want to go, to do whatever I want to do. Bound by nothing and to no one. Freedom matters. Cash matters. Visit cashmatters.org.
Andrea, thank you very much. 25 years ago, on one of the MDC conferences, we were all told to pack our stuff and go home because of a presenter from a credit card associated presentation told us that we are history. We are not. Andrea, thank you very much for this inside view. You are supporting to keep the coin rolling because cash matters. And I wonder where there would be a place where we could meet next to discuss and continue this.
Yes, and there certainly will be an opportunity. The International Currency Association is organizing the Global Currency Forum in the first week of May 22 in Barcelona. This non-profit global currency forum will showcase innovation and new technologies, share global best practice, offer sustainable solutions, and host frank and controversial conversations within the Cash Matters community, and a place to be after the World Money Fair in Berlin.
This is now the time to welcome the Q&A and the presenters in live after we've been listening to the tool making presentation, inspection, and also automation and innovation from Schuler, and definitely about the trends in cash. Please welcome the 4 presenters live now for the Q&A.
Hi, good morning and welcome.
Hello, everybody.
All good? All
Hello
fine?
together.
Yeah,
Hello.
great. Shall we start with the first question? We have a number of questions already in the line, and you probably have seen already that we have again participants from all over the world. But Joachim, the first question is for you from Monete Paris. Pascal Renker is asking, can you also upgrade Impala CNC machine with MCG from end of 90s and early 2000 to the newest control and a unit with modern service technology?
Thanks for the question, Pascal. Yeah, this is possible. So the reason that we have also developed the refurbished package is that it is more and more difficult to get electronic spare parts from the 90s and from the early 2000s, and also that our customers need to be state on the art with the software and also with the Windows search versions, so that they can go into the on their network. So for that reason, is it possible also for the old machines from the 90s and from the early 2000s to do the upgrades?
Thanks, Joachim.
Jockel, there's another one from Ingo Löken from Sparlek. Very simple one. Does the machine has to be sent to Lang for that refurbishment?
You can, but basically is it that the machine can be refurbished on the place so that you don't have to ship it, force it back. So we will do it in your production area.
Super duper. Thanks, Jockel.
Wolfgang, the next one is for you. What is the accuracy of the inspection system? Are you measuring blanks and the finished coins?
Yes, we give the possibility to measure both blanks and finished coins. And I think most of you know the MDCDC quality guideline. And this guideline gives you recommendations regarding the dimensions of the coins. And the measuring accuracy should be a tenth of the value you want to measure. And that's the accuracy we designed the inspection system for.
That's a good hint for me to make some advertisement for the quality guideline for minted coins, which we are happy to distribute on behalf of the Mint Directors Technical Committee. So if you need more details, please send us an email. We are happy to give you these quality guideline after signing a non-disclosure agreement. But that's fine. Thanks, Wolfgang, for that one.
Joachim, there's another one for you. Simovic, the technical director from the Mint of Poland, is happy to see you, and he's already getting specific of how much production losses he will have if he refurbishes the machine. So his question is, how long do you have to shut down the production of the machine when you upgrade our old machine directly in our production facility?
Very simple. Target is to make it in around about 3 to 5 days, and then you're on the latest stage with the CE confirmation and also with the latest antivirus software on your machine. So minimum 3 to 5 days. So then is it done and you can start reproduction in your production area.
Simovic, that means you can start your straight connection to Jockel to get a refurbishment done. Thank you very much, Jockel.
Right.
Yeah, wait for the orders.
Andrea, the next one is for you, and this is Günther. Günther, welcome to the show. Günther Wart from the Bavarian Statement. Andrea, is there an idea what the reason for the cash paradoxon is? Is it the hoarding or more than this?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. I don't particularly like the word hoarding. I would always use storage of value, actually. Thank you, Günther. Welcome, and thanks for the question. I think the Bundesbank did a study, I think 2 years ago, on where actually all the money in circulation was, and that's an issue that many central banks have right now, that they don't know where their currency is. And they found out that probably most of the cash in circulation is actually held as storage of value. The US, for example, the Fed estimates that between 40 and 70% of the US dollar in circulation is being held outside of the US as safety reserve.
Okay, thanks, Andrea.
Next one is Paolo Mascioli from IPZS from Rome. Thank you, Paolo, for being part of the last virtual technical forum. His question goes to Joachim Steidl. Question is, what is the lowest roughness reachable onto the dies by polishing?
Paulo, thanks for the question. So we work in the moment to reach a target by an RA by 0.04 and the RSET by 0.25. Target is to get it better, but this is in the moment where we do our tests and to try to reach that surface quality.
Thank you, Jokl. I understood from the presentation that you were starting where the outlook maybe is already very promising, but that you didn't say you are already finished with all those tests. Actually, we are working on similar processes, and one who is involved in die making will understand immediately how much different reliefs, die sizes, die material play a big role. So I can also confirm and understand what you were saying. Thanks, Jokl.
Thanks.
Eric, there's one for you. Is there merely an assessment of the visual appearance, or are there other features measured as well? Question from Günther Wart, Bavarian Statement. We can't hear you.
Now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So for now, we are focusing on improving the process cost and the quality without damaging the quality. So we first focus on the rapidly changing parameters. And the most rapidly changing are the small imperfections on the dies. So in the future, if we see that other parameters, monitoring other parameters at 100% can improve the cost as well and improve the quality at the same time, then we will also implement other controls.
Thanks, Eric.
There's one going to Wolfgang. Wolfgang, first of all, I have to congratulate you to the presentation, but in reality, I really talk about the developments you have done, very complex and definitely very, very impressive. Mr. Anonymous is asking you, are you measuring 100% of the blanks/coins? Measuring, I think, is describing inspecting.
Yes, for the in-feed inspection, we measure all the blanks, 100% of all blanks, and measure the main dimensions to reduce the downtime of the machine. And for the coin inspection system, we are also able, or we also measure and inspect 100% of all coins from both sides, from the obverse and the reverse side. Yes.
Clear answer. Thank you very much, Wolfgang.
Andrea, there's another question from Christoph Franz from the Coinstitute for you. Thank you for these valuable insights. Which steps could be taken to increase usage of cash, A, in developed and B, in undeveloped countries?
Well, I think you don't have to increase usage of cash in underdeveloped or developing countries. There are, I think, efforts by the Better Than Cash Alliance to promote non-cash payments in developing and underdeveloped countries. And right now, I'm not sure what to do about this, as this is a very powerful organization that has been lobbying the World Bank and the IMF rather heavily in the past years. And they've made huge strides. If you look at the consortium that's behind the Better Than Cash Alliance, I mean, apart from the founding partners, which is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Visa and MasterCard, they now have over 60 partners, and among them many governments that have joined this Better Than Cash Alliance. Just type in Better Than Cash Alliance into Google and you will see that. And we are, organizations such as Cash Matters, we are a dwarf compared to the Better Than Cash Alliance, also in terms of the budget available to us. So this is really hard. What we do is we try to lobby with political stakeholders, especially for the developed countries or industrialized countries. And I think the only way to kind of make cash part of the payments landscape in 20 years is actually to anchor it into the constitution of each state, for the reasons I mentioned, and because cash, for me, is one of the most important pillars for any democratic society. So, and this is something, of course, the Mints and everybody in the community can contribute to. Go to your members of parliament, go to whoever you think is important, and make the case for cash and make sure it stays. We've just founded a movement in Germany that's called Cash Matters, actually in German, and we are trying to promote cash through various associations, federal associations in Germany. And if you have the time and the stomach for it, just do the same. But I think it will be a rough road and it will be a long way. And as I said, the only way to make sure that cash remains part of the payment landscape, the way this is going at the moment, is anchoring it into constitutions, international constitutions. Make sure that cash is mandatorily accepted by all retail. Make sure that commercial banks don't take over currency cycles as we see in Sweden. Make sure that central banks retain their mandate for cash and support cash wherever you go. As I said, there are 20 reasons for cash. If you want me to, I can send them to every participant, and it's a one-page, two-page flyer that you can use easily. I've translated it into English from the German movement. Or use Cash Matters. We've lots of videos available, and everything we do is available to everybody to make the case for cash.
Thanks, Andrea. Thank you.
Andrea, I have to add on. We can all be lucky that your age is only 28, so you have another million years to fight for cash. And I also like the English description of Cash Matters much better than the German translation. Doesn't really sound that sexy. So stick to Cash Matters. Let's get that into everybody's brain. Next question is from Guido. This goes to Eric. Guido Tepasse is the head of the German, the Sparlex Spare Parts and Service Department. And he is, of course, raising a technical question to you, Eric. How do you reject the coins? By air, or is it done mechanically?
Sorry. It is done by air.
Nothing to add. That's it.
No.
That's your chance for promotion, Eric. But it's by air. Okay. Thank you very much. Simple and good answer.
So up in the air. The next question is from Shenyao Li. Shenyao, I heard the rumor that you're staying in Winnipeg today. So this is. Now I lost the question.
Oh, sorry, Dieter. That was me. Sorry about that. I was supposed to delete my question and
and that was a question for Wolfgang. But perhaps we have in the back office.
Came it back here?
No, this is another one. We have in the back office Simon. Perhaps he can retract that one.
Sorry, Shenyao.
So this is Guido. There's a question from Guido for Eric. This is the one you wanted to delete. Is it so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That needs to be deleted. Sorry. Dieter.
Wonderful. Then we move to Pascal. Günther before that. Günther, also for Andrea. Congrats to all presenters. Well done, Andrea. How can we motivate people in developing countries to go for cash rather than using mobile payment?
As I said, that's a difficult task right now, especially since, of course, COVID-19 was the perfect platform for all non-cash payment operators to kind of ask for non-cash payments, and they've been doing that really quite vigorously, even though they're using fake news. As I said, I think the only way to do this is to go through politics and politicians and make sure that cash is being anchored as one form of payment in the payment mix, and that especially retail is mandatorily obliged to accept cash by regulation. There is no other way I see we can do that. And you can all contribute, of course.
Of course, every one of us. Thanks, Andrea.
Yes.
And we have the question from Shenyao back, and what I just said before, there's a rumor going around that you are in Winnipeg today, and looking to the time where either it's pretty late in the evening or pretty early in the morning. So welcome, Shenyao, and you're asking the question, I guess it's for Wolfgang.
Dieter, you owe the question, you should raise it from Shenyao.
Okay, then I
please go
raise
ahead.
it there. Great work, Shenyao said to Wolfgang. Congrats. If the blank inspection is somehow jammed, the coin pressing would be affected. So is the overall coining efficiency suffered?
No, it's not. It's not suffered. Of course, if a machine is jammed, you have a downtime, but the feeding system are running very stable, and they are pretty easy to set up. So there are no many possibilities to do a fault setup, and they are running very stable, and there is almost no blockage of the feeding system, and also from the inspection system. And there is no additional handling of the coin to inspect it. So it doesn't matter if you only feed the blank or if you feed and inspect the blank.
Thanks, Wolfgang.
Andrea, the next question is for you. It's from Pascal, Monnaie de Paris. Comment is great presentation. His question to you is, do you run a global community throughout the social media at ICA? And if yes, how many members? How to grow it is the obvious followed question.
Okay, well, Cash Matters, not the ICA, is running a global campaign on social media, and we've been quite successful. I would say we started with nothing, and it's not easy for a special interest group such as Cash Matters to generate interest. But we are approaching the 500,000 followership on Facebook. We are, I think, at 440 or 450,000. And we've been kind of actually doing or promoting Cash Matters on Facebook in order to have a base for a global campaign should we ever want to run one. Plus, we are at 3,500 on LinkedIn, which is not so much yet, but which has been growing much more quickly in the past year. We are at 15,000 on Twitter, so altogether we have about 500,000 followers on social media, and we've been grooming and kind of promoting this followership, and we are continuing to grow at a rather fast pace at the moment. So my personal goal is 1 million followers by the end of next year.
Thanks, Andrea. Let's all help this. You have already mentioned and highlighted that we all have to become an ambassador.
Yes.
Let's be one, every one of us. Dieter, are you taking the next question?
I'm taking the next from Tom Tjørbjørn Hansen, Norway, for Jokkel. To get the best relief, curves, radius, the surface, do you calculate splines when milling?
Yes. So first of all, we calculate splines so that the machine can do the best movement over the 3D surface. Thanks, Torben, for that question.
Jokkel, what are splines? Jokkel, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I give the answer, but so yes, we work with splines for the output on the machine to get the right. A good surface quality.
Yeah, sorry, Jokkel, maybe you didn't get that. I said, what are splines? I don't know the word splines.
Oh, sorry. Splines is how you if you create a curve, how you connect one connecting point to the next one, so that this is a smooth movement. So if you look normally, a circle is like with a lot of or many straight lines, but with a spline you can create it like a smooth curve.
Thank you. Next one is from Ingo from Sparlik. Wolfgang, this one goes to you. Interesting question. Can you estimate how much time you are saving with a new machine for a trimetal coin compared to the existing way?
Well, that's a pretty tricky question, because every mint is working in a slightly different way. But if you think first you have to produce the outer blank, store it somewhere, you produce the inner blank, store it somewhere, then you produce the core, you also store it, you take back the outer blank, you pierce it, store the part somewhere, the same with the inner blank, and then you join. If you're not living in Canada and work for the Royal Canadian Mint, you first join the outer and the inner ring, and then feed both once again to the coining machine, and also join the core and coin the coin. Yeah, that's a many different and independent working steps, which are not only taking a lot of time, but you also have the risk of faults for every of these independent steps. So it's not only a time saving, but it's also a big increase in process reliability. If you integrate all these steps in one machine, and you can feed 3 blanks, pierce them in one machine, join them and coin them in the same machine. So there is no chance for any defects to occur or process problems to occur.
Thanks, Wolfgang. I think everybody who has been able to visit a mint understands how much logistic you don't have to do when that is a common process all done in once. Besides this, I think you have given Xinyao Li a little quiet compliment when you said when you are not the Royal Canadian Mint. Thank you very much for doing so. The next question is Dieter's.
Yeah, and this is for Eric. Your market companion Lutz is asking you a question. We all know that the quality deteriorations over time. How do you deal with the aging process of a die, which you can clearly see in the camera image?
Thank you, Lutz, for your question. Okay, I can't enter into much details, obviously, but the idea is to monitor short evolutions in time, because this is what we've seen the operators are doing on the coining presses. So we just let's say relearn temporary patterns, and when the temporary pattern changes, this is when we take some actions.
Wonderful, but this Q&A is giving you always an opportunity to go more in detail and add some more time. But thanks for the answer, Eric. Are you taking the next one,
yes,
Thomas?
Dieter, I'm actually taking the next one below the next one, which actually goes to you, so that you don't have to read this question to yourself. So Dieter, producing the Eurozone 2020 was 3.2 billion coins, and amongst them 48.5% are the 1 and 2 cents. Into the future, €5 is still on development, ready for a trimetal?
Yes. And thanks, Pascal, for confirming the numbers which I have researched, and you're quite right, the 48.5% and on the 1 and the 2 euro cents, and the questions we are always having on that is still ongoing. Yes, of course, when we have seen on the banknote side so many steps forward since the introduction of the euro banknotes and the coins in 2002, but we haven't seen anything done. Nothing has been done on the coins so far. So whenever the discussion is coming, what to do with the 1 and the 2 euro cents, one have to think, of course, what will happen with the remaining coins in the market. Are we adding additional security features, overt or covert security features? Are we adding polymering? Are we going for tri-material, or are we going for tri-metal? And you're right, the development of Schuler is certainly going in this direction. So the production center M2R is going, whatever is coming, if it is a flip-flop coin, if it is a tri-material, tri-metal, combining processes and bimetal, this is really where we are looking forward with our new innovation in the production center M2R to get all these challenges done, which are certainly will come sooner or later. I'm taking the next one for company Lang again, Alda Manapov from the Kazakhstan Mint. Jockel, is it possible to upgrade Lang 200 of year 2004? I think your service will be very busy. Everyone is checking now what he is having in the workshop and the model and the year they build it. So this is a question for you.
Yeah, thanks for the question, and will be nice to be busy. So it's always a challenge. Yes, this is also for 2002 and 2004. Is it not a problem? And after that, is it on the latest stage from a servo drive machine then? Thanks for the question.
Thanks, Johan.
Wolfgang, next one is to you. Another detail. Can I change the setup of the M2R later on? And I don't even know exactly what Mr. Anonymous is asking here, but I hope you do.
Yes, of course I know. The question was if I, for example, can change the process steps or the order of the process steps depending on the coin. For example, if you have a tri-material coin, you need an inner edge forming. If you have a bimetal coin, you can pierce and you need no inner edge forming. And the whole system has a modular design. The feeding units are exactly identical, so you can exchange them. And also the forming steps, the forming functions are also identical and can be exchanged. With a common tool design or with a common tool frame, you also can exchange the functions in every step. So you have full flexibility also later on to adapt the process to your requirements.
Thank you very much, Wolfgang.
Wolfgang, stay tuned. The next one is for you as well. What about vibrations in the press? Do they cause a blurred image?
Well, everyone who has been in the mint knows that coining presses are vibrating. But also we know, and we designed the system in a way that we have a very, very short exposure time to take the image of the coin. And so we expect that there is no blur of the image, and we can inspect 100% of the coins and also 100% of the image of the coin to ensure that no imperfect coins are brought into circulation.
Also at maximum speed of 900, huh?
Also at maximum speed of 900, yes, of course.
Great, thanks.
What a surprise, Dieter, that I'm not surprised that you're mentioning 900, understanding that this is a quite high number, which I also think. This is the next question. It comes from Torbjörn Hansen. It's somehow expected, actually. And he's asking Joachim, are you talking about retouch when you talk about polishing on soft steel or polished after hardening?
Both. One thing is that we do polishing on a smooth surface, and in the second step that we can also retouch after hardening. So we will use the same camera system what we use on our laser system to find the orientation of the die and also the inside from border lines and contours to select areas where we can start the polishing. This is a target and where we work on and where we get the first results.
Jockel, a question which I'd like to add, are you using the same tools to carry out the polishing when you do the hardening or the soft ones?
No, different tools.
Thank you.
Next one is again from Kazakhstan Mint for Schuler. Can you tell us about the die life of your minting presses, and which type of steel do you recommend for manufacturing coining dies? Wolfgang, are you going for that, or shall we try to do that together?
So Thomas has mentioned that I for sure will know 100% of all the answers to your questions. I have to capitulate on this question. I'm sure that the lifetime for the new M2R is not shorter compared to the existing MRB, MRH. So we have no long time experience over several years now. And also the question regarding the material of the dies, I have to forward to an expert in die making. Unfortunately, I'm not an expert in die making, so I have to.
The point is pretty easy to reflect. Die life is always reflecting on the coinage material, first of all, and then the second on the design. These are the two aspects which are affecting the die life. The good point is, of course, and you mentioned that in the presentation, that the Schuler presses doesn't matter which model can handle all the die materials and the die designs, but really which material should be used for which coin very much depends on the design and on the material of the coin blank. And there are various options, and also for preparing the coining dies, whether hard chrome or PVD coating is another option to increase die life. But this will be perhaps another topic for another meeting in the World Money Fair, or when we ever meet again in person for a nice and good discussion. Thanks, Ida, for the question. Anyway, and are you taking the next one from Shenyao?
Yes, of course. Shenyao, thank you very much for being so early part of this presentation and involve yourself also in the Q&A, as you are really carrying a lot of experiences yourself. The question goes to Joachim. Would you please elaborate the surface polishing procedures, and can it be done in both soft and hardened stages? And that's a question which basically overlaps also with the one which came from Torbjörn.
Yes, so it's also very simple to answer, though. This is we will do it, or we do it in both, in soft and in hardened steel. But thanks, Xinyao, that you are so early on the stage here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Wolfgang, we're coming again to the material, but here in a different reflection. What material do you use for the punching die or the piercing die? And do we need a lubricator during the piercing process? A very nice and excellent question, because if we combine piercing coining right after piercing, this question is very valid.
Yeah, as you already said before, the materials used strongly rely on the material of the blank or of the coin itself. In most cases, we would use a carbide tool, because this gives you the best lifetime of the punch. And also the question about lubrication is strongly connected to the material you punch and also to the material of the punch itself. But we have the possibility to use a minimum amount lubrication system, which only sprays a very, very little amount on the punch. And you can use an evaporating lubricant. And we also have foreseen a suction system which sucks off all lubricant which is not used during the process. So we lubricate, the M2R is still pretty clean, and we get no negative influence on the coining image.
And if Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous is using a Schuler Ringmaster for piercing, we can sure guarantee that he can use the same piercing dies for the M2R as well, in the same material in our M2R system, isn't it?
Yes, that's for sure.
Okay, thanks, Wolfgang.
Okay, Wolfgang, I'm putting two questions together. Both of them are coming from Mr. and Mrs. Anonymous, and it's basically about the inspection. Can you check the alignment of the front and the rear coining image after minting when looking from top and below at the same time? That is the question which is overlapping with the one which says excellent development. How can you see the coin from below? So both questions are overlapping.
Well, we inspect the coin in 2 steps, and the coin is moved over a grid, and the bars of these grids are not identical in both stations. So in some of both pictures, we are able to inspect 100% of the image from both sides. And yes, because we can see 100% of both images, we also can detect the alignment of the others in the reverse image.
Okay, you do not have to seem to collect too many experiences in die material, but definitely you do have with your own developed machine. Excellent idea, and I think very intelligent solution. Thank you very much.
I have the next one for Joachim. Gremnitzer Mint is asking you, do you also offer new software functions for the laser field?
Thanks to get some requests from my friends from Kremnitzer. Of course, we came up in the beginning of this year with the latest version of the 60-bit software, and especially there we have a complete rework the calculation for the laser strategies. We add some new laser strategies in inside so that we can come down with the calculation time for the output from the data by up to 80%. And we got some new features and insight for the 3D surface to get a higher surface quality. We had the first versions now out in the field, so and get the first feedback that we save in production on the Pulsaris laser machine up to 30-35% in output from the data and get a higher surface quality.
Thanks, Joachim.
Wolfgang, we are pairing again. Question is, again from an unknown person, why do you use a tactile measurement system for the thickness of the blanks?
Due to the fact that we inspect the coin directly in the dial plate, we have only limited access to measure the height of the coin or of the coin edge. And the accuracy we could achieve with an optical system was not sufficient to our requirements or to your requirements. And so we decided to go for a tactile measurement system for the coin edge. And with this, we can guarantee the necessary measuring accuracy you really need.
Thank you very much, Wolfgang.
Jogli, there's some interest from Thomas Tschirpke from Spalek on a topic, and therefore the question for you, can you tell us more about the polishing tool? Is it a kind of a brush?
Thanks, Thomas. This depends on if we go in harden or in smooth material. In smooth material, we use like a hardened ball, where we do some compressing on the surface. And if it is in hardened dies, so we go a little bit more like a brush or wooden sticks where we work on the surface.
Thanks, Jogli.
The very last one from
no,
or not. We are getting more. I see. From Shinyao goes to Eric. Eric, if EMS detection is added to your inspection system, would the inspection speed significantly be slowed down?
No, I'm kidding. So there are very fast sensors available on the market. So yeah, the speed wouldn't be slowed down. But yeah, as said, our focus is on improving the cost without causing cost on quality. Sorry. My question is now if Qingyao thinks that it's possible to improve the cost by inspecting the EMS. I'd be glad to discuss the integration of such a feature on our machine, of course.
Thank you very much, Eric.
Eric, you are online for the final questions, or at least for the following question as well. Proditec, question for Proditec. If there is only one camera, how can you check both sides of the coins?
Our machine is at the output of the coining press. So the coins are falling 50% on one side, 50% on the other side. Yeah, we could go for a two-camera system inspection, but again, we are chasing cost, and also with one camera, we are already doing 99% of the job that two cameras would do. So there is no need for added complexity and cost.
Thanks, Eric. Are you taking the last one?
Yes, the last one is going to Lang, anonymous. When engraved in soft and then hardened, that relief has changed minimally. I think that's an expectation. How do you ensure that the relief is not damaged, Joachim?
So we work on that the tool where we do the polishing with is spring it loaded, so that we get some tolerances inside from that, so that the relief will be not damaged. But this is a challenge, of course.
Thank you very much, Joachim.
Yeah, and we have to say thank you. And you have been with us for the almost 50 minutes again for a nice Q&A, all of you. And we want to thank you for your participation in the morning session. We all see each other later in the afternoon again. Stay well and safe until then. And thanks a lot and goodbye to you.
Thank you very much for being with us. Goodbye.
Bye.
See you this afternoon. At this point in time, we are happy to involve the four presenters who have been presenting about tool making, inspection, minting, and general cash trends. We will be connected via Teams, and we will be able to raise the questions to the experts right now.
Good
Hello,
afternoon.
everybody.
Good to see you again. Hi.
Yeah.
Oops.
No.
Right. Shall we start with the question of the Royal Canadian Mint, Ottawa or Winnipeg? It's Yannick. Yannick, come here to Joachim. What is the surface roughness you can achieve with the CNC's die polishing?
So the roughness, what we can get in the moment on our trials, what we have done here, is in, if we look for the RA is 0.04 and RZ is 0.25. This is the roughness what we have in the moment, and this is still where we work on to get a higher surface quality on that. This is what we have in the moment. Thanks, Yannick.
The next question is to Wolfgang, the chief developer of this new innovation. Wolfgang, have you experienced any negative impact of press vibrations to the inspection, like blurred images? If so, how do you avoid them?
Well, that's a good question. I think everyone who has been in the minting facility knows that coining presses are vibrating. And of course, this may influence the image of a camera. But due to a very short exposure time, we can exclude any negative effect on the picture taken from the coin. So the pictures are pretty clear.
Thank you very much, Wolfgang. Maybe we have expected a positive answer from you. Thank you.
Yeah, and the second question for you, and again about the polishing tool. Can you tell us more about the polishing tool? Is it a kind of a brush? How does it work?
So what we are using in the moment is if we go on smooth steel before hardening, that we use like a harden ball. What we do with them, compressing of the material, what the hand polisher do as well in the moment. And if we go on hardened ice, that we say we use like a brush or with some diamond powder and wooden sticks where we work in different areas to do the polishing.
Thank you, Jan.
Eric, next one goes to you, short and sweet. Why checking only one side? Can you start your mic?
Like this morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, we choose to inspect only one side for now because it is making the system more simple, more affordable, and with only one camera, we can already inspect both sides of the die because 50% of the coins are falling on the obverse, 50% of the coins are falling on the reverse. So really with a system very simple, we can do 99% of the job that we would do with two cameras.
Thank you, Eric. I think we've understood that also this morning. Securing production and inspect as close as possible up to the production is the answer to this as well, which you've already given. Thank you so much.
Wolfgang, the question for you here is, are you measuring, inspecting 100% of the blanks and the coins being coined? Is there any impact on the production speed?
Well, yes. We inspect 100% of all coins and also of all blanks to ensure that the machine can run and no stoppages due to false blanks can occur. And of course, we want to check 100% of all coins from both sides to ensure that only perfect coins are coming into circulation. And now we can inspect up to full speed of the machine, up to 900 strokes per minute in case of monometal coins.
Thanks, Wolfgang.
Thank you. Andrea, I have a comment for you and a question. The comment is, I liked what you wrote to Dieter in the break time. Thank you very much. And the question is, which major reasons do you see for the cash paradoxon? Use your mic.
Same as Eric, I think the usual mistake, unmute yourself. The cash paradoxon is simply that, people are not using cash, but they are storing it. So there's trust in cash. It's central bank money. It's guaranteed money. So as soon as there's a crisis, and you all know that, and you've seen it with natural disasters, with pandemics as last year, with anything that goes awry, people always turn to cash. So they've been withdrawing cash in huge amounts, and they store it somewhere. Deposit boxes, mattresses, wherever.
Andrea, you've been in your presentation using the description poor people. Any idea if poor people and not so poor people are showing the same behavior in storing cash?
I think for the global poor, if you want to use that expression, cash is what they have, what they habitually use. Whereas in developed or industrialized countries, I think cash is what people turn to when they want security, when they want to be sure that whatever they have in their hands is going to work. I mean, cash is number 5 on the US Homeland Security instructions in case of a crisis. after medication, identification documents, etc., I think point 5 is take cash with you, because it always works independent of technology or anything else.
Thank you very much, Andrea.
Eric, does it image every coin, and is the image stored somewhere? Does it also image the dice? Is the question.
All right. Okay. So yes, every single coin is imaged, but for obvious reasons, we don't store every image because each picture is over 1 megabyte of memory. We only store the sample images. For example, if we have a defect of excess of oil, we will just store a few images to show to the operator what is happening, and to have an image of that. But we can't store every single image. Okay, and no, we don't photograph the coining dice. We just photograph the coining dice indirectly by photographing the coins.
Thanks, Eric.
The next one goes to Joachim from Xinyao Li. Thank you for being part of it, Xinyao. As you did this already this morning, an early wake up for you. Basically, this question has two implementations. Which alternatives to the tactile, can your system polish the tool surface in selected areas and with different finish requirements at the different selected areas?
Thanks, Xiao, for the question. I think that will be today a very long day for you. So you start early in the morning and it's still in the morning for you. So of course, we can select it in different areas so that we give a borderline. The basic idea is like we do on the frosting side with our laser system, so that you can give different areas, different borderlines, and can do in these areas the polishing. The target will be also that we got different surface quality, and that this is where we work on and got the first results on that one, but there is still something to do, and we will go ahead on this area with MDC TC. Yeah, let's join that and see what will be the result with a different surface quality. Thanks, Xinyao.
Thank you very much, Joachim, for your answer.
Christoph, thanks for joining us and asking and using the Q&A function for asking Andrea the next question now. Comparing electronic cards, credit cards and cash, what is the percentage of fraud transactions? Have you any information on that?
Use your mic again, Andrea.
We published a couple of studies, but they're usually kind of just restricted to one country, and it's very hard by to come with substantial data, since the business model of the big card companies, for example, very quietly replacing any losses you had because of card fraud, and they don't kind of show that in their balance sheets, like how much it was or any increase. The numbers have been increasing last year, we know that, but that's general data breaches, and it's a surge in cybercrime. You can find that on our website. Actually, 2020 was a record breaking for record compromises. So there was reported breaches and records lost, like records being identity data. And it really, you can see that in the graph, which I can't show you right now, which says that there's like 25% more data breaches in 2020 globally than there have been in the years before, in 2019. That's probably also because security for so many card payments has been lowered. You may have noticed that contactless payments, usually the limit was 25 euros, pounds, or dollars, or whatever, has been raised to 50 or doubled or tripled even in some cases. And of course, contactless payments, as every kind of computer case, club or whatever can show you or has shown are not very secure. But there is very little data actually on card fraud. The UK used to publish card fraud data compared also to counterfeits, but they have stopped that, or they stopped that in 2017. They probably have been bought up by MasterCard and Visa, or I don't know. So it's very hard to say. I can send whoever is asking this question a couple of links to studies and stuff, but in general, the EU has published a study on cybercrime, but that also, I think, dates from 2014.
And I feel we all have to consider that having this data is not public is not because it's a sponsorship by Visa and MasterCard. At the end user has to pay for it with the costs if there is happening anything. And this needs to be considered, of course, in that as well. Thanks a lot, Andrea. And I can give you the email of Christoph, and you can get in touch with him easily.
I will.
Thanks again.
Send him the links. Thanks.
Wolfgang, we are pairing again. Next question is connected to the tactile measurement. Which alternative to the tactile blank measurement have you considered? And which advantage do you see to the tactile measurement system?
Well, to be honest, the first goal was to measure also the thickness with the camera. And we had first discussions with suppliers and had calculations regarding the accuracy we can achieve. And we could not reach the accuracy that we wanted to achieve with the camera system. So we had to look for alternatives, and we checked, for example, laser sensors, we checked inductivity sensors. But they have the big disadvantage that you want to measure the coin edge, and this is only a very, very slim line. And if you're only a few tenths of a millimeter away from the peak, then you will get false values. And so in the end, we decided to go with a tactile measurement, because this is the only system at the moment we see that we can reach the accuracy that we wanted to reach with coins in the feed plate.
Wolfgang, understood. Thank you very much for your explanation.
Wolfgang, if you're talking about the measuring system, the next question is regarding while checking alignment. Is it possible to have an alignment defect on a modern press like this one?
Good question. No, I think we can exclude that the error comes from the press, because we have a very rigid clamping of the die, and also have a very rigid slide guiding and tool frame. But the risk is that the operator himself, when setting up the tool, that they misalign both dies. And to check this, or to ensure that this alignment is good, therefore we check the alignment of both images.
Thanks, Wolfgang.
Andrea, it's you again. It's interesting how many comments are there, and how much people think about cash matters, and what do we do to keep this alive, for two reasons. One, of course, is we are all involved in the mint industry, but all we want to see cash in the future as well. So impressive presentation from Mr. Anonymous, and he's asking, how can we support, what can we do? Any suggestions, Andrea?
The only thing that comes to my mind right now is just follow us on all our social media channels. There is, and if we actually do a campaign, we did one before, then just sign up for it. You'll probably get it via change.org. And apart from that, my message from the presentation: be an ambassador for cash. Like wherever you go, make the case for cash, pay cash. We've been thinking about a use it or lose it campaign, because I think very few people are actually aware that if they are not using or are no longer using cash, and if cash in circulation goes down, cash becomes more expensive. And if you're below a minimum viable amount of cash in circulation, cash becomes untenable as a cash cycle, because it simply is too expensive. So there's two things that everybody can actually do: is use cash everywhere and as much as possible, and follow us and sign up to our channel.
I'm following you, Andrea. I am called within the family the cash daddy. My children do not get a lot of money, but if they get some, it's always cash. And we keep discussing this, and it's interesting how they slowly build up their mind. Thank you.
Andrea, we did cooperate and we worked together in making the movie, and it's not a secret between the two of us that the first edition we had was for half an hour, and we said, and that's a little bit too long. But the story you had to tell us was so exciting that we forgot to look at the timing, and we made another version. But you see now that in the Q&A session there are some more questions and people asking for some more details. Here the one again, what are the achievements of Cash Matters, and what do you do to practice to advance the case for cash?
Well, Cash Matters has been rather active in advocacy, meaning lobbying. So we've been talking to many political stakeholders, and for example, in 2018, when the European Commission was first planning to introduce cash payment limitations, Cash Matters really intervened. We also have been really good actually at building alliances and networks. We work very closely together with actually most other cash-related associations in Europe and beyond. We just kind of formed a bond with an Australian pro-cash association. We work very closely with the CITs, the ESTA, the SCTA in the States, and we've been kind of reaching out and branching out to other associations in order to kind of throw a lot of weight behind the common goal. Because I think in future, we have to forget about differences with regard to node coin boundaries, with regard to polymer paper hybrid, with regard to, I think cash will become more and more under pressure the longer we look into the future. And then this whole industry will have to stand together, and not only for business reasons, but also for the reasons I mentioned in my presentation. And we have to rally citizens to really get up and fight for cash, and to get at least a discussion on what it's worth to them, even if they don't want to use it anymore, and what it means if they stop using it, that they will be losing it.
Thank you, Andrea.
Joachim, the next one goes to you. How long do we have to shut down the production of the machine when you upgrade our old machine directly in our production facility?
Okay, thanks for that question. The shutdown will be roundabout to upgrade your existing machine, also if it is from the end of the 90s or beginning of the 20s, approximately 3 to 5 days, and we can do it in your production area. So we have not to ship the machine over to our facility and to do the refurbishing. So we can do it directly on your facility, and after the upgrade, the machine will be on the latest CE confirmation, also that you have the latest software from Windows 10 and all the security features with that one. And this we are around about 3 to 5 days, depends on what is all to do on the refurbishment. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer.
JD Walker, greetings from Texas. JD, very happy and very glad that you're joining us in the afternoon. And it's not only that you send greetings now, you also have questions for Eric. What is the maximum processing speed of your VisiCoin 200? Microphone, please.
Hello, Jerry. Thank you for your question. Good morning. When we developed the VisiCoin 200, we developed it in order to be able to follow any brand of press at maximum speed for a coin of 32 millimeter diameter, which is, we used 800 coins per minute on a coin of 32 millimeter diameter. this means that we are able to follow any press. We haven't designed it for the for 900, but I don't think this is a problem.
There will be a limited chance, Eric, for that if our inspection system has been proven then in the press. But let's see.
The next question is to Joachim. Joachim, are these machines used to make direct dies? And I think the direct dies is meant to be in hardened dies, I guess.
Okay, so on the milling machine, we can, in the moment, not go in direct in hardened steel. So we have to do it in smooth. Then after that, the engraving, we go for hardening. On our laser system, on the Pulsaris 300, is it possible so that you do the direct engraving in hardened steel, and then you can use that as a direct punch, but not on the milling machine in the moment.
Thank you, Joachim.
Eric, are you with us?
Yes.
Great. The next question, and that does reflect, of course, to the defects, is coming from Ingo. Eric, how do you define what is a defect on a coin? And I can understand the question very well. If I talk to mint masters about defects of coins, you get a booklet close to the New Testament with all sorts of things what can happen in the production process. So the question is for you now from Ingo, how do you define what is a defect on a coin?
Per se, it's not our job to define what is a defect. This is our job to find the defects and to allow each customer to detect whatever he wants to detect with the severities that are adapted to each customer or each coin at each customer. Or even we are not always talking about defects. For example, when we are talking about excess of oil or lack of oil, we are not talking about defective coins. So every customer will have his recipe, let's say.
Thanks, Eric.
The next question is also from Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous. And maybe this person is not from Schuler or from Grabner, because he's asking, can it be used with different press brands and models?
Okay. Yes, we designed the machine to be as adaptable as possible, because in many means you can find different brands of presses, mostly two. So yes, it is adaptable to both brands.
Thank you, Eric. Well expected answer. Thank you very much.
Joachim, again, great work regarding the die polishing capability for soft and hardened tools. Is it possible to upgrade the Lang existing systems?
Of course, you can do that, but we have also to look which kind of version you have, so that we have also do some upgrades on the machine. It depends on which year the machine is, but basically, yes.
Wonderful. Thanks.
Wolfgang, you are taking the very last question of 4 sessions, Technical Forum Virtual. Make sure that you make something out of it. So, can you check the alignment of front and rear image?
I can make it short, yes, because we had a similar question already in advance. Yes, not all mints have an indexing possibility on their dies. So it can be that when setting up the die, that the die of the reverse and the reverse side are misaligned, and this can of course be detected. Yes.
Well, thank you very much. This was the last question to the presenters, to make the efforts to put these presentations together, to take the time to be with us twice today. And we all hope that you will continue your discussions into the future, into a good future for Cash Matters. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks indeed, and stay well and safe. And thanks again for your participation.
Thanks
and
for everybody, and
participation
use your
at the Q&A.
cash for our future.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you. For the audience, if you have missed portions of the presentations, or if you want to re-look at them, or if you think you should share them with your colleagues, you will always have the possibility to go onto the website of the World Money Fair to re-look at it, share opinions, and maybe raise questions directly to the presenters or to the companies. At this stage, this is also the right time, finally, and for the last time for this year, to say thank you to the headquarters of the World Money Fair, to say thank you to Brainstorm and Livestream Watch, who have made it technically possible to be here, hot, warm or cold, which sometimes with technical challenges, but really as moderators we can say we are happy with the performance. And then we have to say thank you to Simon and Ingo, who have been with us to look at the questions, to implement them, and also make sure that from our side, technically, we have a good support. And before we all started this, you got a number of mails from Iris and from Nele to make sure that the organization of this whole technical forum and the implementations will go smoothly, so that we could remind each other frequently on the timelines and also on the subjects.
Of course, and your feedback is always welcome, that's for sure. And after the technical forum is before the technical forum. We will soon start a call for papers for the 18th technical forum in 2022. And as of today, we cannot tell whether we meet in Berlin or
whether it will be something hybrid or virtual again. Of course, we all hope that we will be meeting over a glass of beer also in Berlin, and maybe have the virtual part added to a presence meeting. We don't know yet.
But we notice already, and we have received comments and photos already from the morning session, that people are starting sitting together, not only looking to the webinar at the desk, but in a bigger meeting room, and 7 or 10 people have been together in this morning, and very happy to get these comments and feedback from all of you. We will check all options and we'll keep you updated, that's for sure. In any case, we look very much forward to the coming technical forums, and thanks indeed to see you again soon, and tell all people what coins are for, and that cash is alive and kicking, and always, please always be an ambassador for cash. All together, we say here, the two of us, goodbye and stay safe and healthy.
We will have our last final gin and tonic tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2.
And at last, a big hand to all of you, the presenters, the listeners, the moderators, all the people in the back office, and last but not least, the technical supporters. Due to the pandemic situation, going virtual was the only option remaining. And I think it was a great success, and I hope you do think the same. Some elements of the virtual technical forum we will retain as an extension and complementation of our technical forum. We will discuss it internally in the future, and if you have remarks, please tell us. But nevertheless, I hope that we all will meet again physically in Berlin on January 27th in next year. Please save the date, stay well, and bye-bye.